So Carlene and I are going to be discussing, not discussing, we've been tasked with writing this paper, or these are really kind of guidance documents, not guidelines, but guidance documents that we're going to all be writing. And this one is on screening and nodule management protocols. I think many aspects of this came up during the course of the meeting, and there you go. So these are some of the topics that we thought might be worthwhile. This is not a final list of topics, and we're not going to try to answer the questions exactly, but we're going to try to build a framework for what goes into what the thinking about building protocols and nodule management protocols is about. So things like what factors impact the timing of follow-up scans. You know, there was no law that said thou shalt do 3-month follow-up. You know, that came about from somewhere. And why? Why 3 months? Why not 1 month or less? What are the factors that impact making those decisions? You hear a lot of people talk about people's risk and, you know, do we use person's risk when deciding how to manage a nodule? And how do you use risk? These are not simple questions, but I think what we want to do is start thinking about, you know, the rationale behind this and how it could be used to make a decision. Should screening protocols differ from incidental nodule protocols? Why does Fleischner have a different set of recommendations than the Nelson guideline or the I-ELCAP guideline? What's the rationale behind some of these things? Screening intervals, we heard a lot about that. Why? What goes into deciding a screening interval? And again, I don't think we're going to try and answer these questions per se, but rather think about what factors are necessary, and just a few other things. How do these trade off against each other? Invasive procedures. We're always talking. When do we need to do invasive procedures? At what level of confidence do you decide I don't need to do an invasive procedure? This is a non-solid cancer that has been, you know, there. It's persistent. It's grown slowly over X number of years. Do I need to stick a needle in it? Do we need to have a bronch to make a decision? You know, at what level do we get this kind of confidence? And anyway, we could think of several other topics that go in here, but I think this is really necessary to start to really put something together that weighs these sorts of trade-offs and how you think about it. I think this will be a very important, at least provide a method of thinking about protocols of the future. We had this conversation yesterday about, you know, when do you decide, you know, a protocol is good or better than another, you know, and that by itself is a topic that I think we can start to think about here. Clearly, when you make a protocol, there has to be some goal in mind. And once you have that goal in mind of what you're trying to optimize, then you can say this protocol is better than that protocol for some reason. It may get to the same answer more efficiently. It may get to a more comprehensive answer, but you have to decide what it is you're trying to answer. And then you can decide how to build a protocol and how to compare protocols. So those are some of the things that we thought might count here. Do you want to add any other thoughts to this?
I think that a lot of thoughts that we can add here, but that of course these are just ideas. But for example, also incidental findings, but also who to screen, when to screen. There are a lot of things. The whole screening workflow, taken into account that you would like to have a good data management of all your from beginning to end. So there are a lot of issues, but of course, somewhere you have to pick up the most important, maybe the most urgent issues here.
Yeah, and we're going to be making somehow, we haven't figured it out completely yet, but we're going to, all of these position papers that are coming out or guidance documents that we're working on, we'll list them on the Agile website, and we'll list ways of contacting us if you want to join. We really want this to be an international thought process. And hopefully we'll be able to interface with organizations like the Early Diagnosis Committee at ISLC, I think we really want input into this. I think we can move quickly. I think we have the advantage that we're going to be a smaller organization, and we can move a bit, hopefully fast on writing these. We have a wonderful relationship with some of the journals now that have shown some interest in publishing these. Still have to be peer reviewed as formal, but we've been invited to submit these kind of manuscripts. So we're really excited about it. I think we can really try to push things as an organization. And we want it to be, as I said, really global and international, all the inputs here. So
Yeah, I think also there's a need also to come up now with guidelines and that kind of things to further structure the future, actually.